Welcome to the Calm Mom Podcast, the show for ambitious women ready to get off the hot mess express. I know you've got a lot going on. You work so hard, you're raising an incredible family, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. I'm your host, Michelle Grosser. I'm a certified master life coach, attorney, wife, and mom. And years ago, I was right where you are. I was running a busy law practice while raising a family, and I was on the fast track to burnout. I thought I just needed to be more organized or have better routines, but it was learning how to heal and regulate my nervous system that expanded my capacity to gracefully hold more of this big, beautiful life. You too are worthy of an extraordinary life in and beyond motherhood. Learning to be a calm, anchoring presence in your home and at work is going to be your superpower. If you're here to do the inner work that brings a sense of calm amidst the chaos, I'm here to join you on that journey. Each time you press play, your growth continues. So let's get at it. Welcome to the Calm Mom Podcast. It's Michelle Grosser here. So grateful you guys are with us today. I'm so excited for you to hear from today's guest. Today on the show, we have Dr. Neeta Bhushan. Some of you are probably familiar with her work. She's a TEDx speaker. She used to be a dentist, and now she's a world-renowned emotional health advocate. She's written multiple best-selling books. Her latest book is a 5-times award-winning book. That sucked. Now what? She's the founder of the Global Grit Institute, which helps people like you and me through life's toughest moments. And she teaches from a place of personal experience. And you're going to hear a little bit about her story today. And I'm believing it is going to inspire you. It is going to encourage you. Neeta is just so real. And she shares her thoughts on grit and resilience and motherhood and emotional well-being. And I'm just so excited for you guys to hear about her life-changing journey, especially about, how we kind of manage and navigate when life is tough, right? How do we find that grit? How do we dig deep? How do we make the most of it while also recognizing that, the valleys are real sometimes in life? So enjoy this conversation with Dr. Neeta Bhushan. Dr. Neeta, welcome to the Calm Mom Podcast. It's such a joy to have you with us today.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that you're here.
You guys were recording in studio with her in Austin. We were laughing because we've just recorded an episode for her podcast, and her team's like, do you want to come record in person in Austin? And I was like, yes, please. Give me a drive with no kids and a hotel room, and I'm here for it. So now we get to swap and have you on the other side.
Woohoo!
Thanks for being with us.
So good.
Okay, so I want to start. I just read your book in the last few weeks. That sucked. Now what? And I know it's been out for a minute, but it's been such a gift to so many. And you come to the table with so much wisdom and so much resilience. And I think some of that, you talk about it, but some of it is just inherent, I think, but so much of it is earned. And you start your book with a bit about your story. And I think that really helps to inform kind of where you're coming from in all of this. So as much as you're willing or wanting, will you just share a little of your journey with our listeners?
Yeah. Wow. Oh gosh, the intro is quite intriguing. It throws us in. But I think that, for me and for so many of us, we have kind of this ideal of what life is supposed to be like. And so for me, I grew up, in Chicago, born and raised, to my immigrant parents. My mom was from the Philippines. My dad was from India. And the journey of that particular, the section that you're referring to in the book was around the time of when I kind of, checked all of the boxes off of traditional success, right? Grew up with tiger parents, the eldest, like you, of 3. and, doctor, dentist, lawyer, engineer. That was kind of the four professions that I could choose from, or nurses, shout out to the Filipino mamas. And so that's kind of what I did. I followed the path. I did all of the things, was in dance and ballet and, the kind of all of the accolades, right? The piano competitions, the dance competitions, the traveling. Ooh, the exhaustion.
Yeah.
The perfectionism.
Yes.
And I grew up early on. At 10 years old, I became a caretaker to my mom, who entered a seemingly long battle with cancer. And that would begin the early stages of my growth, the early stages of what resilience would look like in our family. Growing up as Filipino, Indian, or Asian girl, and your mom is sick as a, not even a teenager, you're kind of a, preteen.
Yeah.
And so you grow up early. And so you're having to assume all of these responsibilities. And she lost that battle when I was 16. And then, so that was, it was a bittersweet because I was a junior in high school, and I was also in this rebellion stage of like, I don't want to listen to what my dad is saying. Like, I just want to be a kid. I want to have boyfriends, couldn't date, and all of the things that, like, all of these restrictions. And then a year later, we were faced with another tragedy. My brother, DJ, suddenly died, and he was 15. He had an asthma attack in front of his school. And it was almost like, my brother, DJ, and my mom, they were like two peas in a pod.
Wow.
Yeah. So I look back and I'm like, oh, wow, they needed to be together. Wow. And that was the most probably, top 5 devastating times of my life. And so I'm a senior in high school. Yeah. Oh, you're a senior, and you're like, what? I got into all of the schools. Wow. I did all of the things. Couldn't go to any of the colleges away that I was wishing and hoping for.
Right.
I had to be there for my dad and my youngest brother, who was 12 at the time. And it was a crazy time. Yeah. It was a crazy time. And so, fast forward a couple years later, my dad has a diagnosis of stage 4 lung cancer. Wow. So this is all between 10 and 18, almost 19 years old. And so, I grew up. My dad lost his battle of lung cancer 9 months later, and I enter my 20s with this chip on my shoulder, ready to face the world. Didn't want people to feel bad or pity or, but I did know that I had a superpower. Didn't know that at the time, but I realized my superpower was community, and my superpower was this unwavering love and support. Wow. That I could just create community anywhere and everywhere I went. I had this built-in family. Wow. And to this day, I still have that everywhere we go. And it's easy for me to build community everywhere. Thank God, because that was my saving grace. Wow. And it's one of the things I champion a lot, in the book. Wow.
Through all of that, was it easy for you to lean into your community?
It was, well, so when you're a teenager, you're going through a lot of hardship, trauma, loss, sudden death, inexplainable, like, why is this happening? You're kind of known. Yeah. In a weird way. Right. I'm the kid that, her parents were sick, or she lost her brother. My brother didn't even go to the same high school, but it garnered a lot of attention because it was a very sudden, and he wasn't, and that's a whole story in and of itself, because he wasn't in sports. And so it was one of those things that was just it was one of the things to talk about. And so you get this attention, and all you want to do as a teenager is to fit in, belong, be accepted, be normal, not be the one that everyone's kind of like, you know,
the opposite of everything that's real.
Like you're being talked about in the corner, like, oh my gosh, don't say anything. But then everyone's acting like kind of normal.
But you feel it.
But you feel the energy. And so it's kind of, and I empathize with a lot of folks who've been bullied and othered. Yeah. Because I totally understand the mindset of a teenager. They don't know what to say. Yeah. They don't know how to hold space. Sure. You know, I think it's one of the reasons why even, you know, in writing this book, to be able to normalize all of the emotions and the feelings that we have generally, because so often we have things that happen to us in our lives, even in our families and our family units, that we're just not equipped, or we don't have the right tools. And in, you know, for that part of my life, I'm so grateful. I had a church going community that, you know, I wasn't born again Christian, but my dad was like, go to all of the things.
Try it all out.
You know, try it all out. We were raised, my mom was Catholic, my dad was Hindu. We went to a Gurdwara, you know, Sikh temple when we were younger. So we had all of it. Yeah. And my dad, during his you know, when he was sick, he was like, let everybody pray for you. It's okay. Like, let them all come. And so even I remember when my mom was sick, I was, you know, between 14 to 16 before she passed, we would have like round tables, or, you know, in the ICU, friends would come over and sing and play the guitar. And just, it was a very, I mean, I look back and I'm like, that was so not normal. Yeah. But that was normal for me. Sure. And, you know, while yes, many of my friends were going out, dating, going to the dances, doing the after school things, going to concerts, didn't really get to do all of that. I mean, maybe occasionally here and there, but that was my normal. And my normal was, you know, playing games at the hospital. And we just had that sense of community, and that to even extended family members who, throughout that period of time, even into my 20s, were just pouring in. Beautiful. And, you know, they say that, you know, you get, there's a saying where you're influenced by, or the biggest impact that your parents can have is actually having relations with your parents' friends, you know, because they have, you're influenced by them, and you're looking up to them. And thankfully for me, I had so many family friends, uncles and aunties that were, you know, just mounds of love and support. And I think I wouldn't be here today if I didn't have that. Yeah, for sure. It really starts to set how you see the world through the eyes of the people that are around you like that, right? Oh, totally. And I think that because there was so much love that, you know, when we were talking about this earlier on our podcast, that there were moments where you may feel alone, and you will feel alone, because the grieving process is a lonely one. They were trying to mitigate and kind of maybe support the grieving in the ways that they knew how. So making the casseroles and all of the food, and we could talk about that for another time. But that grieving process of that physical loss of someone or a few people is something you have to go through. You have to. Yeah. Well, I want to ask you about that in particular, because I think a lot of times when we think about resilience, there's kind of this notion, or maybe even a misconception, that it's really about just like pushing through, right? Until we get to the other side. And then it's not going to hurt as much, or I'm not going to think about it as much, or I'll have grown, or whatever it is. And I think that all of that is true and beautiful. And if we're so quick to just push through and get to the other side, and be able to look back, we miss what really needs to happen, like in the in-between. Oh, yeah. Tell me a little bit about that. Yeah. I mean, in my earlier, like throughout high school and into college, and then even into dental school, I think I chose all of those so that I could run away from all of it. Yeah. And to bury myself in busyness. Yep. And to bury myself in the chaos and and it was a big distraction. And I think also the survival mode that we were all in, I was, there were times where I was working 3 jobs when I was in my teen years to support my family. And I talk about this in the book around, as when you're growing up in these cultures, like you're still going to biochemistry class while like you're doing life. And they didn't believe in taking the time because they believed, and not to shame them or my family, that's all they knew, but they believed that if I was going to go to school, that I was going to be like, that's going to be my distraction. I wouldn't get so sad or depressed. Like they didn't want me to go into that. And so I was so trained from an early age, from my mom's first diagnosis at 10, Neeta, you're so brave. You're so strong. You're so resilient. You're so resilient. And so I learned how to put an armor on. I learned how to be that warrior. I was the archetype of the eldest, most responsible, the good daughter in every way, and carrying that torch. Boy, that's a big torch to carry.
Yeah, it's heavy.
And it's heavy, and it's like, it's going to break.
Yeah. And
it finally did shatter. And for me, that whole ideal and everything shattered, and the perception and that full mirror, that glass half full, it shattered into a million pieces. This was towards the end of my 20s because I did go to dental school. I put my way through school. My brother as well, did really well. I fell in love. I fell in love, and I then got married. It was a big fat Indian wedding. It was as you would think. But then my world came crashing down, and this goes into that very first opening of, I needed to say 3 words because I didn't realize the amount of help that I needed so desperately. And for 15 years before then, I was just in survival mode and trying to achieve and get to the top of whatever that mountain was.
Right.
And that mountain was just internally, causing me to just be spiritually dead, emotionally numb. Mentally, I just really lost my sense of self and my confidence even, because I was in a very tumultuous and abusive marriage relationship. Yeah. And when I finally was able to say those 3 words, and it was during a specific time. It was December 31st. I was in this, my whole dream home, all of the things. Yeah. And my world came crashing down because my life was threatened. And I had to leave. I had to leave haphazardly in the middle of the night, December 31st. Wow. And that was the next chapter. Yeah. Because this was, this was at the end of my 20s. And really having to then confront really, truly decade worth of grief, pain, angst, sorrow, overwhelm, excruciating pain. I mean, I went through therapy, as you do when you lose your family in high school. It didn't mean anything because I was still striving. I was still running. I was still on that rat race. Yeah. I was still like, okay, I'm going to do that. Yeah, but I got to go study for physiology, biology, whatever it is. Yeah. And so because my nervous system was just so used to the chaos and the dysregulation that I was in a relationship that would mimic all of the things that I was going through as a young girl, not knowing if I was going to be safe because I was losing people. People were getting medical diagnoses. I had to go to the hospital many times in the middle of the night, figuring out my brother was sick with, his asthma attacks. So my parents would rush him to the hospital. Many times we would be left with our grandparents. So it was a lot of this, unease, and that unease was comfortable for me. And so during this full proverbial just falling on your face, and what I talk about in the book, the magical moment of suck, because that sucked. It really was the beginning of me coming back home to myself.
Wow. There's it's a whole book, you guys. So you have to read it. I'm like, I want to keep going. And then I'm like, no, okay, move on. we can't be here all day. But yeah, there's so much wrapped up in that. And I think, you know, everyone has their own story and everyone has their own moment of suck or many maybe moments where they can identify with that. And I think a lot of times we can see the resilience that requires. And I'm also curious about the day-to-day resilience. Like, I know now you obviously you're married, you have children. What is that grit? What does that resilience look like for you now, or like the women listening?
Yeah. So I had to redefine what resilience meant.
Okay.
And that time when I broke, I shattered. And I shattered because, well, in order to really bounce back, and I talk a lot about bouncing back and bouncing forward and flying forward in this book, I wanted to go into the roots of what resiliency actually meant.
Right.
Because we think it's strong, stoic, that warrior, the you know, military, the grit. And it's so masculine. Yep. And that was most of my life until I allowed myself to break, until I allowed myself to fall apart in front of my very lucrative dental practice and my team of dentists. And, I was doing all of those things so early on because I was good at that. I could do all of that. What I wasn't good at was breaking down and letting people see my vulnerability. I mean, I had my practice when I was, barely 27 or 28, and people didn't even think I was a dentist. So there was a whole thing around that, the proving the work, and you know this too, because of your law background, and I took the practice on from an older dentist who was in his 60s retiring. No one took me seriously. I had a lot of attrition, a lot of people leaving.
Wow. Yeah.
So I had to confront my worthiness.
Yes.
I had to confront, I am going to be liked even if I'm disliked right now because I don't even know what the heck I'm doing. Yeah. And I have to be so vulnerable because my life is falling apart on the outside. It's so chaotic on the outside. I'm assuming this practice and I am drowning on the inside. I have no idea what the heck I'm doing. I need help. I need help in every way. And that vulnerability, that breaking it was shattering in every single place. And I had to confront myself. I'm like, that is not resiliency. Maybe it is to be soft. Maybe it is to let people in and allow them to really see you and see that, oh, well, Dr. Bhushan is crying a lot. I've never seen her like that. What is going on? So it was, and the amount of outpouring and support when I even shared, I was going through this massive thing. I don't know if you're going to have jobs. I don't know if I'm going to keep the lights here open, but I need you all to know that I'm going through something really heavy and big right now. And the amount of doors that opened because I asked for help. And it was so different. Was it
a like a conscious decision for you to have the courage to be that vulnerable, or were you just at such a deep breaking point that it had to happen?
It was both, because I no longer could hide behind my mask
right,
and my goggles and my lab coat. I mean, I was a wreck in every way. I could no longer. The emotions were so piled up and so locked in that it was a pressure cooker, and it was exploding. It was exploding from every which way. I mean, from a physical way with all of the physical ailments that I had, lots of stomach issues, lots of digestive issues. I talk a lot about that now on my podcast of what tends to happen when you have so much just outward anxiety and bigness in the trauma and your emotional expression in many ways. And from that point, the Latin word, or the Latin root, what I wanted to come back to for resiliency is to bounce. is to bounce back. And when we think of bouncing, I think of, when I was in ballet at 8 years old, you're watching the ballet dancers and they're so agile and they're so flexible. Yes. Well, why couldn't I be flexible and agile in these moments of resilience? Why did I need to have my protective armor on?
Sure.
And is there a different way?
Wow.
And so in this book, I talk about the dualities,
yes.
right? That sucked. Whatever sucked. And it sucked really bad for me. Yet, giving people permission to say, now what?
Yeah.
Can your now what be messy? Can your now what be unkempt? Can your now what be this beautiful unraveling version of yourself that is uncertain, that is soft, that doesn't need to have an agenda, that can just be comfortable in the uncomfortable? Because for so many years I was not. Wow. For so many years I was trying to control because I had a world that was so uncertain, that didn't know when things were going to fall.
Which makes so much sense, when you think about it. For women listening, I think that's a beautiful permission slip, because I think there's a lot of people listening who wish they were more resilient, or they feel like they're not resilient because they don't exhibit or embody a lot of those masculine characteristics you're talking about, and to just invite them into the softness of what resilience can look like. And you I assume got really curious about how, where does that even come from and what does it look like? And I wonder if you could just touch on that a little bit. I think you call it the bounce factor, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So just tell us what kind of goes into how resilient we are, and then, how can we become more resilient? Because we all want to be.
Yes, of course. And I mean, it's, there's a sassiness to your bouncing back, right? I think that oftentimes when we've been through something, it can let us, we can get stuck in it. We can get stuck in the suck. And I think for a lot of us, go-getting mamas and females, and, we want to get over the thing that sucked so fast. Yep. And we don't have spaciousness for the grace of the falling. Yes. And catching ourselves and allowing that pity party, for one, allowing it, swimming in it, basking in it, and I know, and there are some of you listening to this that are like, well, I have a friend that's kind of in it and they've been in it. How do I get them to get out of the suck and what sucked? And so there's that camp, but there's the other camp that doesn't allow themselves. And I was in that camp. I know you were in that camp, because we're so afraid. How big is the bigness of that going to look like?
Are the wheels just going to fly off this thing and I'm not going to make a recovery? It's scary. I open that can of worms.
And or if I play those 90s tunes of those the love songs, am I going to just be crying for hours and hours and hours at a time? You probably won't be crying for the entire day, but maybe you'll be crying for an hour or two.
As long as you need, right?
As long as you need. And for most, it's like 15 to 20 minutes of that wailing, deep, guttural cry and release. And guess what we're doing? We're releasing that cortisol in our tears, salt and water, all of the stress that we're building up in our body that actually causes disease, right? And so for me, it was a whole curiosity around making peace with my past, because the bounce factor, there's 4 parts. It's kind of like I kind of relate it to the trampoline that we have at home. There's 4 parts to it, because it is your foundation. It's your foundation to bounce back. And the first part is really making peace with your upbringing. And whatever that looks like. Maybe it's something that didn't go well, but it's making peace with your past, the things that we cannot change. Because we can't change it. Can't change the fact that, all those things happened. But what I can do is, I can be so grateful for it. And I know a lot of times it's so hard to hear that, because how can you be grateful for that? Are you going to be angry? Are you going to be upset? Are you going to be mad? So there is a sense of then tuning into your emotional capacity, the second part of that. Because so often we have such a big reservoir for the feels. And I think my training ground was my youth. My training ground was my adolescence of, all right, how big can you hold?
Wow.
Because you're going to be meant
for sure.
to hold
Preparing.
a lot for so many people and in so many ways. And so, you know, the betrayal, the hurt, the grief, the angst, the overwhelm, the jealousy, the resentment, all of those big feelings. Do you have capacity to hold that? And then also, you know, now I have children, but then do you have the capacity to hold that for your kids, where you're not trying to change their expression or tune it down or dim it, right? And so that's the second piece. The third piece is your current environment. You know, I think that a lot of us, we stay in the same frequency or the same place, the same city, the same thing, with the same types of people, the same friendships, and the same routine over and over again, which keeps us stuck.
Yes.
And I think, you know, especially even during all of my losses, I remember vividly my dad taking us to, like, after my brother died, he took us to, you know, Disneyland. We'd never been to California. I mean, the thing that you do. But because we had so much grief, that can there be moments of joy to change your current environment? And then meeting all of his friends that he grew up with that he didn't meet for 20 years. And looking back, I'm like, oh, he wanted to change his environment because he hadn't seen these friends from when they all left India, right? And they're reconnecting in this place, California. And I look back and I'm like, how often do we still stay in the same thing or do the same thing or be with the same toxic people and the toxic friends? How can we change our current environment to build that daily resiliency? Yeah, that's good. And in that softness, right? And do things that light us up. Be okay with the good stress that I also talk about. Yes. And then finally, that final piece is, you know, have that unwavering self-awareness, and the self-awareness that you are tuning into how your body is feeling. You are tuning into, and just that gut, right? Not in your head of, oh my gosh, here's what I think I have to do, or here's what I think of what society expects me to do, or how I should be, so that I'm going to show up because I think that I'm expected to play this role, where it's okay if you're not feeling it. It's okay if you don't want to be social. It's okay if you want to cocoon, and to be able to normalize that, right? I think that for so much of my life, I was trying to make people comfortable with whatever was making them feel uncomfortable with the way that I would share my story or share. And there's quite a few stories around that I share in the book that many times we're attuning to making others feel okay with our bigness or with our stuff. Yeah. And then we teach this to our kids.
Yes. Yeah. Without even trying.
Yeah. And so how can we tune into our radical self-awareness so that beautiful. we can shift that, and we can not only bounce back, but fly forward.
That's right. It's big work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without bypassing.
That's the big work, right? Is like feeling all of it and healing through it. And then trusting that you can look forward to what's on the other side. You've kind of alluded to it, but you have a line in the book that, like, when I read it, I just read it and then I read it again and then I read it again. And you said that resilience is joy.
It is.
And my husband and I choose a word of the year every year. And 2 years ago, my word was joy. And I was like thinking about that. I'm like, man, resilience is joy. And I would just love to hear like a little bit about what went into that for you. Like, was it just that resilience is bringing about a joy for you? Was it about finding the joy in the moments that led to the resilience? Was it all of it?
I think oftentimes when we are facing hard things, or we're going through a breakup, a divorce, our kids sick, or there is a diagnosis, or you're going through something, you know, life is happening. It's testing us. It's building our muscle for resilience. Yet in the moment, can you have that duality for experiencing the joys in the moment?
The and, right?
The and. It's not the, you know, and there are so many years that I shamed myself for in high, my younger days, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't be having fun. Oh, I shouldn't be going on a date with this person. I should be grieving. Or I shouldn't be, going to the concert or wanting to even have joy because I'm going through this really hard time.
This feeling that we almost have to earn joy, or it has to be in the right. Or it's just so scary because it could be taken away too.
It could be taken away. And that's the biggest thing. Like, oh, this is not going to last for so long.
Yeah, that's scary.
And even when I met my now husband, I mean, I thought that all along. I'm like, oh my gosh, the ball's going to drop. Something's going to drop. Oh my gosh. So there was so much work around, I'm deserving.
Yeah.
I am joy.
Yeah.
This is the process of joy. And everything that I've been through, there were moments of joy. It's one of the reasons why when people meet me, they're like, oh my gosh, like you don't look like somebody that has been through so much life.
Yeah.
And it's because I am known in my circles as the joy bringer. I'm the cheerleader. I'm like the, glasses fully overflowing. Come on, let's go. I'm the rallier. And it's because I think it's reclaiming all of those years where I thought that joy needed to be earned.
Yeah. And it's really brave. It's really brave. I want to touch on parenting before we let you go, because I think, especially with those of us who are either in this space or like doing a lot of this spiritual work or the personal development work, it's like we want our kids to be attuned to their emotions, and we want to make, set the stage for them to be able to learn a lot of the things that we just missed out on as kids. And there's a kind of a tension there, at least I'll speak for myself, where it's like, I don't want to raise like soft kids. I also want to raise really resilient kids. Like there's this story, right? That this is what created my resilience. And it was from a childhood of just like all of this stuff. And I want to protect my kids from that. And I want them to be resilient and gritty. So talk to me about how you're growing resilience in your children.
Oh, wow. This is a conversation that my husband and I like have every day.
And I know they're young too. So like for people listening, it's like,
they're 3 and 6.
Yeah.
Just turned 6. It's a dance because, and we have our very traditional, not so conservative or conservative like elders that are also helping, and they're the traditional, like the screaming, the yelling. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not what we're, and so I kind of approach it as like, I am the meme of like the gentle parenting. And then my husband comes in and he's like, we are not raising soft kids. And I'm like, I know we're not, but and so then it's a dance.
Yes.
And it's literally, my work is in the daily flesh of like, I'm reminded every single day of like, all right, that sucked. Now what? And, and again, it's picking our battles. I think the biggest thing that we're working through right now is allowing our kids to struggle.
Yeah.
And to be able to be okay with not fixing their frustration.
Ooh, that's really good.
And it is so hard because I have a 3-year-old and she is so determined. And she's so determined, but she's like, she's trying to put whatever Lego, because her brother did the Lego thing, and she's trying to do it because her fingers aren't like, motor skills aren't that. And she's struggling and she's screaming, and it's like a whole meltdown for like, it's painful to watch. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my nervous system can't handle this. I'm like, and then when I'm like, forget it, I'm going to just help you. Can I just help you? No, and so then it's like, no, I'm not going to. And so it's like, okay, I got you. So it's literally reparenting the 3-year-old in me.
Yeah.
And seeing how determined she is, because my son is very different. He'll be like, Mama, can you help me do this?
Yeah.
And it's like, honey, let's practice
tying
your shoes. And so now we're at this thing where we got him all the shoes that have the strings, because all of the ones are just so easy where you slip it on like a sock. And my husband's like, how is he ever gonna learn how to tie his shoes?
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Okay. So we got him these things, and it's like, we're having to deal with his frustration tolerance. She's better at it because she's just so determined and she's independent. But he's like, but I can't do it, Mom. I need your help. And I'm like, well, so that's the dance. That's the dance, is what are we learning with their frustration?
Yes.
And knowing that all of these are setting them up for future toughness.
That's right.
And the future, resiliency that they're not going to always get their way.
That's
and
right.
we're hearing this with our, with their sibling rivalry too.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we're going to learn the art of negotiation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. That's such a gift. Mm-hmm. And I think the confidence, right, that comes from it. Like, I can actually do these things, and I can struggle, and I can figure it out.
I can struggle. Yeah. I can struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's actually a good thing. It's building our character.
Yeah. It's a gift.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a gift, but it's a gift.
It's such a gift. And it's so painful, mamas, when we're in it.
Yeah.
Because many times we don't have the time. And so
I kind of want to end there for the moms who are in it. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's, and I say this in air quotes, like, just the throes of motherhood, because it's not just that, like, it's a lot. But just like that messy, like, I heard this quote, I didn't hear that. My husband's grandfather used to always tell him that life is a collection of Tuesdays. And when I was in early parenthood, I was like, every day just feels like Tuesday. And it's just like never ending. And I'm like, 5 more hours till bedtime, and then 4 more hours, like, I'm like, oh my
counting
gosh.
down.
Yeah. Or maybe it is like a tragic life event. And for the women listening who are in it, like, talk to them for a minute.
Ooh, yeah. It's, gosh, and I don't want to say that it goes so fast, because when we're in it, the days are so long. Mm-hmm. The days are so long, and you feel alone. Yeah. And you feel like, wow, I'm missing my days when I wasn't doing all of this. And there is the sense of the grieving, but can we find joys in those moments of the cries, in those moments of the meltdowns, in those moments of, wow, I'm here right now, I'm alive, and I can have both of these, and it sucks, but can we put on like a favorite tune and dance, for 2 minutes, or rage? And I have a whole playlist now of my rage music. I'll give you one for the listeners. It's Cats in Boots Dinosaur Dance. If you have kids that are, 10 and under, I promise you, it sounds like an EDM / hip hop song that we would dance to. But it's like,
it'll shift the mood.
It'll shift the mood. My kid, I have a whole section in the book around the dinosaur dance.
Yes.
And that's can we find those slivers of joy in those moments of hard?
Mm-hmm. That's so wise. Yeah. And we can, because they're there, right? We just have to look for them. Yeah. Beautiful. For everyone listening who wants to know more, we'll link the book in the show notes. We'll link your podcast in the show notes. But if there's anywhere else that you'd like for people to come find you and continue to learn from you.
Yeah, we just kind of put everything up on YouTube. So if you want to see us like in the flesh here right now, you can, join us on YouTube at Neeta Bhushan, or if you can find us at the Brave Table. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for being with us today. This was such a gift. I know everyone's leaving feeling so, I think, encouraged. I think your story brings a lot of inspiration, and just a reminder that, there's purpose in all of it, for everyone listening. So thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
If you love Mommy's Podcast, leave a review.
If you enjoyed this episode, it would be so awesome if you could take a moment to subscribe and rate the podcast. And if you have just a few more seconds to leave a quick review, they really help to get this podcast out to other moms like you. I read every last review, and trust me, when it's late at night or early in the morning before my kids get up and I'm working on bringing you all of this content, your reviews are what keep me going. Leaving a review is truly the best way you can thank me. And of course, DM me on Instagram. I love to hear from you. Thanks for listening to another episode. Head over to the show notes for this episode and all past episodes at michellegrosser.com, where you'll find free resources and more ways to connect with me. If you love the show, share it with a friend. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next time.